Can we stop calling mediocre or bad shows peak? So, the Daredevil trailer dropped, and I'm gonna be honest, it looked great. Loved the new suit. It had music by Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. The vibes were there. That's what I'm pretty much talking about. But overall, with Born Again Season 2 being on the horizon and Born Again Season 1 already being a year old by the time I probably drop this video, I want to talk about reasons I've mentioned in my previous videos why I think Born Again Season 1 wasn't as good, and out of all the four Daredevil seasons, it's probably one of the least. I mean, Season 2 was also not that good, but at least Season 2, the first half was amazing. With Born Again, it's just like all over the place, you know? So I wanted to talk about it, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. If you are here and you've stayed this long, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe for more content. I talk about geek stuff, comic stuff, movies, anime, whatever you want. But back to the point. So when Born Again was announced, I cannot explain to you how excited it was for me as Daredevil fan. Daredevil is arguably my favorite, bro, I can't even begin with it, bro. Outside of Spider-Man, like if you remove my love and affection for Spider-Man, Daredevil is the best and my favorite Marvel character of all time. And seeing him finally return after season 3 was like season 4 originally at Netflix ended and it was canceled and we didn't get any news about it for who knows how long. And constantly getting these little hints of Daredevil in the MCU, but never, never too far. They always tried to keep it tame. He showed up in No Way Home, showed up in She-Hulk, and just looked amazing despite the horrible suit. And Kingpin also being in Hawkeye, like all these little things. I watched She-Hulk just to see my boy Matt Murdock. And same thing with Spider-Man No Way Home. It was a pleasant surprise in my opinion. But Daredevil Born Again Season 1 compared to the Netflix shows, I don't even think it's a competition. Born Again Season 1 has so many problems. It has continuity problems because it's connected to the old show. And also now they're actually trying to, make it seem like, oh, it's MCU canon, which it's created continuity problems. We have pacing issues, horrible side characters, and just characters that don't feel right, and poor CGI. But regardless of all these issues, you constantly have people online talking about, especially when it first came out, about how the show is peak and how Marvel is back and they cooked with Daredevil. And you're free to your own opinion, of course, but honestly, when you look at how many problems we have compared to the old shows, especially with the CGI, which there isn't that much use of it, but just the CGI overall, the look of the show looks different. The CGI look different, and you would think that them having a bigger budget would result in stuff being better, right? But no, the only thing that's good about Daredevil Born Again is Daredevil's suit, and I'm not even that big of a fan of it. But yeah, Daredevil in Born Again just, I don't know, man, it just sucks. The side characters, we barely know any of them or care for any of them. Any of the new side characters are so insufferable and just they don't add to the story. None of them are really interesting. Heather, his new girlfriend, sucks. Karen or whatever McDuffie, the girl he works with, she's just there. She doesn't really do anything. His friend who does investigations for him, Cherry, is also just there. Like none of them are actually interesting. Whereas in the previous show, you had Ben Urich, you had Karen, you had Foggy, you had what's her name, Claire. You had a lot of characters that I actually was interested for, and Matt would meet that were actually like, in his world. Like they actually supported him, they were with him, they knew him, and the characters actually felt like real people. Foggy getting angry at Matt for keeping that secret for so long, and the drama and everything surrounding that felt so real. But in this show, I just feel like them killing off Foggy in the first, it was for the first 15 minutes, everything felt like, oh, we're back, because we see the what's the name again? Murdoch, Nelson and Murdoch and Paige, like they walked out together, and it was like, oh yes, we're back. They're finally back, everybody after years of waiting. And then they kill off Foggy. Then Matt and Bullseye have like a long, horribly CGI fighting scene where both of them are just like, yeah, I guess hitting each other and stuff. And It is what it is. Matt goes on a rooftop, nearly tries to kill Bullseye for it, even though in last season, I'm pretty sure he had an arc of where he wanted to kill Kingpin, but he eventually chose not to. And then seeing him try to break that arc or that rule of his in the first 15 minutes, and I know people are going to be like, oh, but his friend died, and it's different, but it still feels a little bit, all over the place. And then what do you know? Karen leaves, and we don't see her up until the final episode. And it's like, what happened in the span of those 15 minutes? Matt isn't even really Daredevil for an entirety of this show, and this show just focuses on so many different things that I don't really care about, because waiting 7 years for Daredevil to return only for him to avoid being Daredevil. And it's not like Matt Murdock's stories aren't fun. I love Matt Murdock as a character, but they don't really dive into his character as much in this show or do anything with him that's we haven't really seen before. Yeah, Matt stops being Daredevil. We've all seen that a billion times. His friend died, a line was crossed, whatever. He stops being Daredevil. But then we see him do this court stuff, and it just doesn't work out, especially with Hector Ayala, who I thought was a great character for me. I loved the way they introduced him, the lore behind him, and White Tiger. Like, he was one of the characters I didn't expect to see or actually care about in the show, but they did him well. But the entire, like, judge court arc, wherever, like, in the show when they were in court, it just sucked, bro, because Matt Murdock, the guy who is a vigilante at night, Daredevil, he revealed Hector Ayala's identity, and he got this man killed. Out of all people, do you know how messed up it is that Matt was the one to do this? And the continuity issues, again, they don't even, like, we don't see Matt, his Catholic side enough, in my opinion. I feel like Foggy dying is such a big deal, but Foggy, his brother, is nowhere to be seen. Foggy's family is nowhere to be seen. Like, we don't really get a funeral with them or whatever. It just skips 1 year later and bam, Foggy's dead. And we also don't really, get anything with Matt's mom, Maggie. Matt said he was probably gonna come back to her in season 3 if, like, he needed help with stuff or whatever. Foggy died, one of his best friends. Matter of fact, his ride or die best friend, damn near his brother, died. And they just don't talk about it that much. Like, Matt's just sitting here avoiding Foggy. Like, the lingering feeling of him wanting to kill Bullseye and everything. Like, it's so well written in my opinion, but at the same time it also sucks because continuity issues. And in the, like, first 15 minutes of the show, we see Foggy chopping it up with McDuffie, and I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, what happened to Foggy, his girl? Didn't he say, like, last season or in season 3 that he was damn near ready to go and marry this girl? And now all of a sudden Foggy is, like, chopping it up with this girl. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened in the span of, like, 7 years for us? But in the timeline, what happened? And not to mention, like, Muse, who is one of my favorite Daredevil villains of all time, was so horribly done. Like, Marvel, I'll never forgive them for what they did to my boy. But at the same time, despite me hating this show, or hating on it, not really hating it, but despite me hating a lot on this show, I'm gonna be honest, the scenes that we get with Frank and Matt talking to each other, and Frank being like, yeah, I know, I can see it in you, like, you hate him and you want to kill Bullseye and all that stuff. Like, those scenes, I keep saying it, John Bernthal and Charlie Cox, whenever they have scenes together, like season 2, the rooftop scene, bro, they own these roles. It is so well done, well written, and the actors, they just play these characters so well. And then and that's what I mean when I say the show is so conflicting for me, because as a Daredevil fan, I'm so happy and I'm so pumped because Daredevil's back and I want to watch the show. But then we get the Kamala episode with her dad and, like, that entire pretty much like filler of an episode. Then we got Muse issues, continuity issues, pacing issues again, and then we have to deal with what's her name again, Heather, her lame ass. Like, you see what I mean? The show is just so over the place, and it's not as good as it should have been. And it is genuinely disappointing that this was the main big return for Daredevil. We've seen him throughout different MCU projects, but this was like his grand entrance where he was supposed to be back and everybody was hyped. But it didn't live up to the hype, in my opinion, and I hope season 2 could do a lot better. Especially the ending, bro. Like, I liked the ending and the final episodes, but Matt being like, "Oh, we need to assemble a team," and it's just the most like the lamest cops in New York City you could like, just a bunch of average Joes you could find on the street. It's like, bro, what happened to Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, damn near anybody else you could have picked? I know Jessica Jones is gonna be in the next season, but my point still is that that scene just made me laugh, bro. That's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and peace.